the largest opposition party. Hideki Nakayama joins us live. Hideki? To our special report on the Cambodian election. The country's 6th general election will be held on Sunday, but this time the voting will go ahead without the largest opposition party. Hideki Nakayama joins us live. Hideki?
Good evening once again from Phnom Penh. The US, EU, and independent NGOs are calling the election a sham and say the recent developments are symbolic of a decline in democracy in Southeast Asia. The country has seen this sudden twist while undergoing a seemingly gradual shift to becoming a democratic nation after years of war and turmoil.
Cambodia is a land with a turbulent history. In the 1970s, the ruling Khmer Rouge killed millions of people in a push to establish communism in the country. The regime fell in 1979 after Cambodia's nemesis, Vietnam, invaded. But the bloodshed didn't stop there, as a devastating civil war ravaged Cambodia for more than a decade. Peace, after a long negotiation process, was finally restored in 1991. Back then, the Cambodian Prime Minister was Hun Sen. Almost 3 decades later, he's still in power, but his popularity among the people is fading. In the 2013 general election, the opposition Cambodia National Rescue Party won 40% of the votes, leading many to consider it a serious threat to the ruling Cambodian People's Party. But last year, National Rescue Party leader Kem Sokha was arrested on charges of treason, and the Supreme Court ordered his party to disband. Observers say this was an attempt by Hun Sen to tighten his grip on power, and now he seems to have no real competitor for the upcoming election.
In the early 90s, peacekeeping operations under the United Nations devoted their resources to implement a pluralist democracy. But with the opposition developing into a threat to the ruling party almost 25 years later, there's been a strengthening of control over social activities. One specific target is the freedom of speech. Just a year ago, many independent media organizations were free to disseminate information crucial to making judgments, including opposing views towards the government and the ruling party. But that period has come to an end.
I came across this motorcade as I was walking through the center of Phnom Penh. It seemed to continue forever. Thousands of people are marching through the street of the capital supporting Hun Sen's political party. The stream of cars and bikes supporting the leading Cambodian People's Party lasted for about 30 minutes. One driver told our crew he was paid $10 to join the rally. And giant posters of the Prime Minister can be seen all over the city. It's another sign that this election is all about Hun Sen. There's so many posters around the city. Just over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just standing here, you can see 6 of them. Hun Sen is hoping the election will deliver a mandate for his budding dictatorship. I asked citizens who they were voting for, but many didn't want to say in public. They seemed worried about the authorities finding out.
Please let me keep it secret.
I don't know. I'm not going to tell you.
One party always winning, and one party, close party saying no vote. What do you think about this kind of
no idea.
Hun Sen has been increasing control over the media. The Cambodia Daily, an English language newspaper known for being critical of the government, was suddenly forced to stop publication last September. Most of the papers now sold at street stalls favor the ruling party.
Front page, Hun Sen, Hun Sen, Hun Sen. You can see how Hun Sen is just in the front pages here in the newspaper stand.
Some journalists are concerned about the situation. The Cambodia Center for Independent Media, or the CCIM, is an NGO that fosters young journalists and conducts media research. It's supported by Western governments and institutions. The CCIM itself also publishes news online, but media in Cambodia had been facing difficulties covering this election. We asked the manager of CCIM about the media situation in Cambodia.
The situation of the media in the country is worse. Let's see how the mass media like TV and radio they produce the information to the people. It lies not very neutral information. It's not like independent, but most of them they only promote the action of just one side, just government, just the ruling party.
According to a CCIM report published in 2017, the government has closed nearly 30 media outlets and it's increasing censorship of online sources.
We also think how to mitigate the risk when covering the sensitive situation like this in Cambodia, and also to protect our reporter. We still not so clear yet what will be happen after the general election.
The internet-based broadcast I watched was taking calls from across Cambodia. They say that people have limited ways of sharing their views with others in the country. The NGO also told me some reporters from media that are critical of the government weren't able to get permission to cover the election. And with the radio stations closed, they're concerned that 2/3 of people in Cambodia won't be able to access information from those sources. Opposition supporters are facing a fierce fight to have a say in an election in which their party can participate. NHK World's Akihiro Yokota has more on that situation.
Komas has been a member of the Cambodia National Rescue Party since the last general election in 2013. Even after the opposition party was dissolved, he has continued his activism.
Dissolving the National Rescue Party is the same as erasing the will of 3 million people.
He is considering calling for a boycott, saying an election that doesn't allow the main contender is not a valid election. But supporters in his hometown say people are being pressured to vote.
Authorities came and gave around $2 to each person who would vote for them. They said they would pay another $10 after the election.
People who say they won't vote if the opposition can't run are afraid they'll be harassed.
Komas wanted to stay in his hometown to speak to the people, but his mother told him the police were after him. Despite his desire to fight injustice in Cambodia, Komas had to flee to Thailand for his own safety.
I want Cambodia to become a true democracy. If the situation remains the same, I won't be able to go back.
Other parties decided to run in the election, even though they understand it is problematic. Yansen Koma is the head of the Grassroots Democracy Party. It was founded by NGOs and intellectuals helping poor farming families become self-reliant.
The dissolution of the National Rescue Party is unjust, but we have to move forward in order to bring new choices to our people and promote the freedom of politics.
Jansen Koma wants to replace the top-down power structure of Hun Sen with a grassroots approach. His party doesn't have the resources to campaign nationwide, so he's going door to door to win support. But he said authorities are also harassing new parties, including preventing leaflets from being distributed.
And if something like this continue, I don't think maybe we withdraw. It's not fair.
Opposition parties are struggling to make their voices heard, but they are for the administration. The largest opposition party, the Cambodia National Rescue Party, gained major ground in the last general election 5 years ago. Most people who voted for the opposition were unhappy with their wages staying so low. So the Hun Sen government, Hun Sen administration has been raising the minimum wage over the last 5 years. But that didn't stop the opposition gaining more seats in last year's local elections. That driven the regime to go so far as to disband the party.
Disbanding a party, but how does the government justify such kind of action?
They argue that they just got rid of an illegal group and that there's nothing wrong with the procedure. But many Cambodians know that it was a political move. When I speak to them, they say that they don't want to get involved in politics. They know they could suffer if they criticize the administration. I get the feeling that helplessness is blanketing the country.
Helplessness. So, the ruling party is the only major party participating. What would we be looking for?
The ruling party is certain to win the election. 20 parties have fielded candidates, but the opposition is split, and none are able to replace the Cambodia National Rescue Party. The authorities are keen on raising the voter turnout. That's because if, for example, the turnout doesn't reach 50%, or the ruling party wins almost all of the seats, the election's legitimacy will again be called into question.
Well, it seemed like Cambodia was heading toward democracy, and but with now, this is the situation. So what's the reaction from the international community?
The United States and the European Union cut their assistance to the election early on, saying it is not legitimate. I don't think they will accept the result either. But in the face of the international criticism, the Hun Sen's administration is still taking hard-line attitude that's backed by China. The administration won't change its attitude so easily as long as Beijing continues to funnel massive funds into the country without demanding it fix human rights issues.
Okay, so the West is gone, China is backing the regime, but what about the other countries?
So Japan has also been providing assistance to Cambodia's democratization since the 1990s and supports the upcoming election. But after the much criticized polls, I think it will be a difficult issue for Japan to maintain its relationship with Cambodia.
Thank you for your insights, Akihiro. We'll continue our special coverage from Phnom Penh on Friday, where we'll focus on how the growing influence of China is affecting life and politics here in Cambodia.